Okay, hello everyone. Welcome
Hello.
to our new episode of Politically Incorrect. Today, me and Jeanette back, and we have no other guests today. Usually, we have many guests from all around the world with ex-Muslim background who are telling their stories and their apostasy and blasphemy. So we are giving them place to talk. But today, in the last week, I will just share this. Jeanette have wrote an article about my way out of Islam. This is the article there, and then I think, wait a minute. I haven't had a conversation with Jeanette, our vice leader of Ex-Muslims of Norway, about her story and her apostasy and her life. So we decided to have about 1 hour conversation with Jeanette today. Welcome, Jeanette. How are you?
Thanks, I'm fine. How are you?
Fine, thank you. And other thing we have to say that today we have to keep a short video because of our fellow ex-Muslim organization in Denmark, Frafalden. They have their first podcast today, and it is starting at 20 p.m. Or 8 p.m. about 1 hour. So we will watch this, and we recommend you to watch their first podcast. And I will share the link in the comment section, their link, where they will have their podcast today. So, and again, welcome. And Jeanette, we go right in the point. Can you please a little bit talk about yourself? Because for me, you are one of the most brave ex-Muslim women in Norway, maybe the only one, because who
That's
dare
very
write
kind of you.
and talk about Islam science from 1990s, right? You start to write.
Yeah.
So can you please talk a little bit about your background?
I was born in Oslo by parents who came here in the 70s from Pakistan. And when they arrived here in their early years, they were a bit modern. I remember my parents wearing fashionable clothes, and my dad was a nerd, so he was technologically very, interested in all the new things that would come around, and we were a normal Pakistani family. We would lie to the Norwegians just like everyone else does. Would never tell the Norwegians how bad things were at home, because the Norwegians were outsiders. And even though you didn't know what it means when you were a kid, but the Norwegians had no honor and they had no discipline, so you were not allowed to share with them how things are at home. And
Is it because of the religious differences, or right? Because of they were one true. They
no,
were
because
kuffars, or
the Norwegians, they were, even though they were the people of the book, because to Muslims, it doesn't matter if you're an atheist. To them, you're a Christian. If you're white, you're Christian. You're Norwegian, you're a Christian. They don't care that you don't believe in your own religion, or if you are a person of science. They treat you the same way, all of them. And at home, we were. It was a rough thing to grow up. We would get regular beatings because in the Islamic culture, the most important thing for parents in order to not be banished from their community is to have complete control over their kids. If they have no control, they have no honor, because at some point they want to marry their children off to other Muslims, and if the kids are not obedient enough and don't take it seriously to take orders, then they dishonor their family. If a girl, for instance, has a rumor about having her own ideas, her own thoughts, her own mind, then she's a threat to the family's honor, because the family's duty is to make sure that she is a virgin and obedient at the day when she is being given away. She is like a product. She is like a new phone, per se. There is not allowed any apps on it for fourth hand. The person who buys you is allowed to download whatever they wish. Well, you come with some settings. You have to know how to clean the house, make food, that sort of thing. Be a very good Muslim and have no personality of your own, per se. And we had to memorize the Quran verses by heart, and we had to mostly just obey or get beaten until we do. So I remember I used to hate my parents because I was scared of them. I hated them so much because I thought all parents are assholes towards their children. I used to think that parents hate their own kids, and that's why they beat you so much. So I hated them because I felt like they hated us, the kids.
But was it same for your brothers too, or how?
Yeah, that was even worse, because my brother, he was raised, my older brother was raised into believing that he had to be perfect, or else he will spoil us. If we didn't look up to him and he wasn't a good example, then it would be very hard for us to be obedient. And the weight of responsibility they put on girls to be modest and to be virgins and to be a tool for men they are supposed to be given to, the weight of responsibility put on men to be your father's inherent, you have to inherit the role of the family's head, and you have to do all these things. When your father passes away, you have to take over and keep the control and make sure everything is in order. That also has a very heavy weight. You have to also keep your sisters. You have to control your sisters. You have to make sure that they don't disobey you. You have to watch out that they don't develop friendship or talk to boys. And it's the father is like a jailer who raises his son to take over for him, and the girls are like the prisoners. That's what, yeah.
Yeah, but these double standards. I know this because of my background is the Sunni Muslim family, and how they have double standards about when we are talking about the girls and boys is different. Like you say, girl, like their honor is between the legs of the girl. Yeah. Like my mother is my honor because she's a woman. She have vagina, and she is my honor. Yeah. My wife is my honor. My daughter is my honor. My sister is my honor. Even my aunts are my honor. But my brother, my father, they are not my honor. If someone, or if my brother or my cousin have sex without marriage or something like this thing, it's no problem. Like my honor is not get hurt. Yeah, but if I see just my sister or one of the women from my family with one man which she is not married with, in some places just they are drinking coffee or something, then is my honor is get hurt. Yeah. This is the problem in Islam, sure, in many other religions or culture too. But the problem is in Norway. A lot of people who, I think unknowingly, they are blaming the culture, but they can't see the connection with the religious impact, right?
Yeah. So when I was 9, I wasn't before my 9th birthday. I remember my dad. He just lost it. He would wake up in the night screaming, crying. Saying how could he, embarrassed over his prophet, because I was a child. I was getting close to my 9th birthday, and he looked at me and he saw this little child, and he grew up knowing that a child who is 9, a girl, can marry a 50-year-old man. In his upbringing, in his religion, that's supposed to be a holy act. When you're a kid and people tell you that a 9-year-old can marry an old man, you don't really understand what's going on, what they are talking about. To you, it just, when you're a little girl and someone talks about marriage, you're just thinking the wedding. You're thinking the party, the dresses, the foods. That's all you're thinking about. So, I asked my dad, so I can marry someone who is like your age? And my dad started to really freak out. I was beaten. I wasn't allowed to ask these questions. It was like, it really got to him. So after a couple of years, he was settling himself into a sect in which they translated Quran differently and rejected all the hadiths, and believed that Aisha was 19 at the time when the Prophet married her, and that the marriage was not of a sexual nature, because she needed a provider. And I mean, I used to think about this. She had all these uncles, she had her parents, she had this family. Why did she need him to be providing for her? But I wasn't allowed. Even in this sect where they are rejecting all the hadiths, blasphemy was not really acceptable. It was frowned upon. You weren't even allowed to disrespect the gods of Greece or the gods of Hinduism, because maybe they too were prophets sent by Allah. So they had their own sort of interpretation to calm themselves away from pedophilia, because he and all the other people in this sect, they were there because they could not stand the pedophilia of the Prophet. So I grew up thinking that was the real Islam. And I would reject anyone who said that forced marriage had something to do with Islam. I would say no, it's because of the culture that we inherited from Hindustan, and it's because of the wrong Islam. It's because the imams, they hijacked Islam and destroyed it. Like theocracy always does to a religion. They take knowledge and they turn it into religion. That Islam isn't really a religion, it's something else. It's just, a way of life, very, very advanced and very, very beautiful. I didn't want to hear the truth about Islam for a long, long time. But, when I was forced to marry, because I was rebellious. I was always rebellious. Was not my 9th birthday wasn't celebrated because my father couldn't stand watching me turn 9. And in the middle of that summer, my mom took me to Pakistan and dumped me in my father's village, so I would learn discipline and my place as a Muslim woman, so I wouldn't be rebellious and think that I am Norwegian. So next year, when I was 10, I asked my mom, what if I marry a Norwegian? And they used to look at me and think, what the hell is wrong with her? Because we have tried everything and she still rebels, asks questions like that. Why is she still thinking in her head these things? And she just turned and looked at me very calmly, and she said, well, then we will chop you up in small pieces and put you in the freezer. If I marry a Norwegian, they will chop me up in small pieces and put me in the freezer. And I said, but then the police will get you. And she said, no, we'll tell them we sent you to Pakistan. But shortly after, we moved to Pakistan, the whole family, because, mostly because I was out of control. I had a mind of my own. And at the age of 16, I was married to a guy I didn't know. And, I was pressured by my parents my whole life to know that when they ask me, because they have to ask you, then you will tell them that the decision is theirs. You can't say yes because then you're a whore, and you can't say no because then you're disobedient, which is blasphemous. You know, it's not allowed, it's not permitted, it's not accepted. So when the day came and the house was filled with guests and they were celebrating the fact that I was already gonna be married, my father asked me, and I said what was expected of me. I knew if I didn't obey, I was gonna get, you know, roughened up really bad. So I said, the decision is yours. And when I was pregnant with my child after 4 months of daily rapes, my family decided to send me to Norway to give birth. So when I got here, I was supposed to invite this husband to come to Norway for, they call it a family reunion. And when I got here, I was sent to Child Protection Services because I was still a child.
Right.
So I gave birth to my kid. And when she was 2, I looked at her and I realized they're going to do to her what they've done to me. I will have no saying in how her life turns out. She will have no saying in how her life turns out. I can't do that to her. I have to leave. So I packed my stuff, took my kid, and I left. I was alone on my own with her for 2 years, and then a forced marriage was on the news, where Muslims were refusing that it exists, that there is no forced marriage in Islam. And that's when I decided to, you know, I decided to give an interview to the newspaper without showing my face or revealing my name. And then I saw that they were discussing this on a debate program in the evening, rejecting that it was real. They said must have been a fabrication of racists, because if it was real, the girl would show her face. So I thought, okay, then the girl will show her face. Then I gave the matter of face, and I haven't stopped since. I didn't want to believe it had anything to do with Islam until 2012.
Right.
I couldn't deny it anymore by then. I wasn't a Muslim. I wasn't going to be a Muslim. From the very day I left my family, I left Islam. But I couldn't admit that.
And this is the biggest problem many people have.
I left the peaceful Islam because I got sick of it. You know, they don't kill you for leaving peaceful Islam. They leave you for disobeying your parents and ruining their honor, but they don't leave you for leaving. They just let you go. But my parents, they were going to kill me if they got their hands on me. Or my uncles threatened to kill me, and I reported them all to the police. So when I was fighting against oppression of women and forced marriage, I didn't want to imagine the real Muhammad from the Hadiths. I couldn't make myself go through that sort of vulnerability. My dad left it. Why would I care about it? But then it started to become really hard, because a lot of people who had memorized the Quran, Norwegians, they would ask me, how can you say this isn't real? It's not difficult. How can you say that this is a wrong translation? It's really simple, straightforward, from A to Z, the life of Muhammad. And I read all the hadiths. I read the Quran, and I remembered memorizing all of this in Pakistan, because I actually chose Islam as like a selective subject in school. And I knew a lot of Quran and Hadiths and Surah by heart with translations. I did very well in my exams. But I didn't believe it. I thought it wasn't the real Islam. But I would go to debates, and Hege Storhaug, we were working together, and she would explain how it has to do with Islam, and I would stand up and say, I don't support that. I don't believe that has to do with Islam. I would shake and I would get so scared because I really didn't want to hurt my parents. I was really scared of hurting my family more than I have to, you know. My freedom is fine, but I didn't need to go in there and rub it in their face, you know. So I watched Imran Firasat's film, The Innocent Prophet.
Yeah, right.
And there it was. All those things I didn't want to picture, all those things that I didn't want to believe could be true. The trouble is that I grew up believing that there were metaphors and poetry, and there is so much deeper you have to go into the Quran to find the proper message of it. But it's not. It's really, if you directly translate it, it's just lusty bloodbath of a bastard.
Yeah.
It's simple. Islam is not complicated. It's terrible. It's just that a lot of religions, I mean, a lot of customs used to follow those barbarian ways of living back then. But it shouldn't belong anywhere today. We know better. We should do better.
It's really so strong story, Jeanette. I have to just say,
from there on, I have been really, really direct about Islam. But before Christmas, I was feeling super sad and vulnerable. Hadn't written anything for a very long while. I asked a few friends, what am I supposed to do? I am so scared all of the time because of our state channel, our state television is advertising hijab constantly. You know what hijab really means? Is that the girl who is not wearing it is a whore. That's what it means.
Of course.
And it's forced upon so many women. So many have lost their lives because they don't want to wear it. And they just keep pushing it on everyone, and we don't exist. You and I, they don't listen to us. They pretend like anyone who is trying to be decent is racist.
Right. You know, I just want to add, you know, when
So Rita asked me, Rita said, I think you should write down your fears. I think you should start writing down everything that scares you because you'll get rid of it. And then she said, but I still don't know why you left Islam. And I thought, yeah, I'll write it when I'm more calm. And then a week before I wrote it, I had this dream about Imran Firasat and his story. And then I remembered the things I felt when I realized, you know, that Islam is bogus.
I just shared it. This is the video you are talking about, Imran Firasat's film, The Innocent Prophet, right?
Yes.
Yes. You know, I just want to add something, Jeanette. When I heard now your story, you know, I say again, you are one of the most brave women in Norway, and I mean it.
Thank
I
you.
mean, because of you know, and when you telling the story, I just see that even you are not in a Sunni Salafi Muslim family.
No.
You are almost a moderate, one of the like Quran only Muslim family, right?
It doesn't get more moderate.
Yes.
Islam doesn't get more moderate.
Even when they do this to you because of their beliefs, and this happening in Norway, in like this Muslim family, and Norway is blindly let it happen, and they are using millions crowns in Norway to fight so-called negative social control. But negative social control is just in front of their eyes. In the schools, when you look to the little girls with hijab, They are allowing this. Like you said, the state TV channel promoting hijab.
Yeah.
This means they are accepting and allowing Muslim parents to oppress their children, have a negative control, put this to their head. One 6 years old girl going with the hijab to school. This means that when they see that Norway accepting this, then they think, oh, okay. Then when she became 16 years old, 17 years old, they find one guy from their village in their born country, and forcing her to marry him. And later, if they have the traditions to circumcision, for example, they do circumcision, FGM to her. And then suddenly states say, stop, you can't do that. But you already allowed all the negative control and the oppression to children. But now why are you claiming? This is the double standard, and the millions of Muslim or girls in the Muslim world suffering because of this type of control and this type of oppression. And many of them is killed by families, by their own brothers and fathers. It's happened even here. We know that some Pakistani families did to their children. In every country, we have this. In Turkey. So this is really a big issue, but the problem is when the state is fighting or they like acting, they are fighting against this, but they do nothing in reality, because of when they make reports every year, how many girls have been forced married, how many girls have been go through FGM, for example. In report showing in this year even many.
And then they give money. Then they give money to mosques to stop negative social control. Mosques are negative social control.
And in this report, but the funny thing is, in the report, it is just the country origin is writing there, like Pakistan origin. How many people have been through this? This cannot help too, because in Turkish origin. In Turkey, we have Muslims, non-Muslims, we have Kurdish people, we have Turkish people, we have Arabs, we have Armenian people. We need to know specifically which kind of religion they have, which kind of sect in this religion they have. Everything we have to have open. Then we can find out what's the problem and we can fight against it. But they don't do that because they say we don't want to discriminate.
Yeah, that's negative social control. They want to hide most of the information, just like Islam does. And if you want to know, then they call you racist. In Muslim countries, they call you kafir or infidel, and here they call you racist. It's the same thing. You're not allowed to know. How are you going to help if you don't know? How are you going to help anybody? How are you going to save anybody's life if you don't know what they are struggling with? If you just label them disobedient. But they don't want to help.
Right. And
the people who are advertising, they are for hijab and negative social control. They are the real racists.
But when you read some hadiths about Prophet Muhammad and his marriage to children, it is pedophilia. But Muslims do every acrobatic gymnastic arguments to clean the ass of the prophet. But it cannot help, when you read these things, when you see the truth about Muhammad, what did you think in the first time, or when did you see the true Muhammad actually?
Well, I grew up with two Muhammad, right? I knew about the one and then I knew about the other one. And every time I saw the Muhammad of the main grains of Islam, I would reject him because I preferred mine. My Muhammad was a decent man. He was someone God would actually choose to guide the people. But Muhammad, who is in the big sects of Islam, he is the one who is written. My Muhammad, you have to look for him and turn every word into something else. He doesn't really properly have a theology. You have to sit there and romanticize something and come up with him. Why not just turn, atheist? Why not just leave Islam? If you hate him so much, you have to turn him into a into a Norwegian.
Normal men do not get sexually attracted to children. It is so easy. And Muhammad claimed to be a prophet of God. Why he followed the bad examples of the people of his time? Because some people say that in this time it was a normal thing that people married with children. But why he followed the bad example of people? He say he's the prophet of God. Normal men don't do that. And this is the simple thing Muslim can leave Islam when they read the Hadith book, telling the clearly, Aisha telling that, and it was a forced marriage.
Also, the sect, they have this theory that Islam, the Quran was completed during Muhammad's life. It came down perfectly written and never been changed. And there are 26 Qurans right now. They used to gather Qurans and burn them because there were too many. And then after a 50-year time or so, they would gather more Qurans and burn them. So they just had one. It's been like this throughout the Islamic history for 1400 years now. And still, this sect insists that the real language of the Quran, that is the Arabic in there, it's more advanced, and it used to be so much richer. It used to have so much bigger vocabulary, and today's Arabic is just not that beautiful. It's not good enough to understand it. So it comes back to that. You don't know their language. The real Quran wasn't even in Arabic,
Right. I just want to say that, when you open the first chapter in the Quran, before I explain this, I'm really convinced that it is more Islam or believing Islam is more about psychology and mental issues than believing because of you are convinced.
Nobody believes in Islam.
Nobody. This, I can say this clearly because of it is so crazy book. Think, they say Quran is the exact word of our creator, right? Who write the Quran? Allah. Every word who's speaking? Allah. Okay. The first chapter, open the first chapter and read it. It say, the praise be to Allah. Who is writing this? Is it Allah? Then he has to say, the praise be to me, right?
Yeah.
And then say the Rab of the Alamin, and the Rahman. I don't say English because of this is not Arabic. If I translate the Arabic, it cannot. I cannot translate because it's not Arabic.
Yeah.
The Rahim, the owner of the day of the Deen. The problem is in the first chapter. It is 7 words. It is not Arabic. It is Hebrew, Aramaic, Syriac, and Greek. In the first chapter, and the first chapter, when you read this book, you understand the first chapter is a very short chapter, and you see that this is not the author. It is just, this is not the Allah who are talking here. It is the author of the book. Who is this? Muhammad or somebody else, but it's not the God himself. And the later next chapter, you see, it start with Alif Lam Mim. This is the book. It is no doubt in it. But you just said Alif Lam Mim without explanation. Nobody knows the meaning.
My dad would go on and on about the Rahman and the Rahim, which means like the kind and the kind.
Yes.
And they would say that no, Allah would never use two different words to describe the exact same thing. It has to mean two different things, and we would like dive into it and try to figure out what it means. It's bullshit. If I tell my boyfriend he looks hot and sexy, it means the same thing, you know? It
Like,
doesn't mean that they are two different things, and we have to dive into figuring out what those things are.
yes, like Jess is writing right now, Allah worship Allah. This is exactly what's happening in the Quran.
Muslims are Muslims because they have been beaten almost to death from day one. When it was Lily Bande, our previous vice leader. She shared a video the other day I saw where it's a madrasa in Pakistan. The children are doing homework and they haven't memorized it, so the teacher starts to beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Everyone is so shocked. And the most funny thing is when Pakistanis who see this online, they are so shocked. They were always like this. Our parents would beat us. Other parents would beat their children. But if they saw each other beat their children, they'd be like, oh no, you should never beat children.
It's just cheap hypocrisy. You know, their prophet is ordering parents.
Those children, they are like 2 years old and 5 years old, and they are being beaten and threatened. They're gonna grow up, they're gonna beat other people and threaten other people, and they don't really care what they have been told is true or not. They know they're gonna get beaten and they have to beat other people. That's their culture. Fear. That's what Islam is.
Exactly. You know, and even they forget, like, you know, everything. I remember I was in the city Mos some years ago. There were what is the organization for Muslim all the mosques? Jeanette. ERN, yeah.
IRN.
Yeah, Muslim Road. Yeah. The leader of them were there, and I asked him. Then I said to him because it was about how the treat. How children get affected with the religious ideas or like something like that, and he said Islam is very open religion, and it's not forcing anything to children, right? Like this. I said to him, but your prophet said, if your children not pray when they are 10 years old, beat them. Mm-hmm. He said, where it is? I said, wait, I will find, and I find it. It was from Abu Dawud hadith. Yeah. He said, can you Arabic? I said, no, but it is the translation here. Can you? He's a Pakistani guy. You know, they are denying. It is something really with psychology. Islam is everything about the psychology, I believe, and fear from the childhood. Like one day I say to you, because of fear of God, but you say different thing, and I believe you're right.
They are not afraid of God. They are afraid of each other. They're not afraid of God. They are so scared to get killed by their closest family. Brothers kill each other. Sisters kill each other. Parents kill their children all of the time because they are afraid if they don't do it, they will get murdered by someone closer in the family. Everyone is scared of each other. Just like socialists are scared of each other. Snowflakes are scared of each other. They don't dare to speak their own mind. They sound like everyone else. They are exactly like everyone else because if they stand up and say what they really think, they are excommunicated. They're called racist. Nobody talks to them. It's the fear that keeps this political correctness in both religion, like Islam, and the modern societies that we are seeing now.
And this is so why it is very important that we ex-Muslims are now in the last years standing up in public and talking like we do right now. This is because we want to normalize the acceptance of living Islam, because this has never been normal in the Muslim world. And this is the biggest problem, because the majority of Muslims are actually not religious, and I believe they are believing just because of fear and ignorance. because Muslims are a product of 1,400 years of strict blasphemy and apostasy laws. They are the products of that. And think how many people have been killed in these 1,400 years because of blasphemy, because of apostasy, and still even today in many countries it's a death penalty for leaving Islam. And this like go inside the underbevissthet,
conscience.
it's there in their conscience. Just like something's have to break the wall, and something's have to happen. And this happened to me, this happened to you, and this will happen to more and more people. Like some day ago, I have seen one article. I will share it. That Muslims are living really, they are living Islam.
I mean, I see Yasmin Mohammed. She daily, like 10 girls unveiling their heads, and feeling free every day. Lots and lots of girls are just fed up with Islam, and lots of men just leaving it too. And it started with very few people. My dad left Islam. He comforted himself into something that sort of kept him from being murdered for leaving Islam, but he did actually. He needed to leave it, so he did. I left my whole family because I wasn't gonna live in Islam, although I didn't realize it was Islam until later. And I mean, Imran Firaset, he saved me from the whole confusion about Islam. All of us count. Every single ex-Muslim and Muslim and Islam criticizer counts. We all are very, very important here.
Right. So I'm calling the Enlightenment age in Islam.
Yes.
After 300-400 years after the Enlightenment age in the West, this is really something's happened, and this is a good thing. But I just remember, one of the biggest problem is when you are on the way to leave Islam, it takes a long time. This from our experience we know. You have, like I have. It's not happening like that. But all the doubts are going over, and in the end, like it's forcing you to face it, the truth, face the truth, read your books, what your gods really say, how Muslims believe it, what was the Islam in all the last 1,400 years. So this is the reason,
the history of Islam.
And this is the reason many offshoots of Islam is coming. Like you say, they are actually ex-Muslims. They are living Islam, but instead of they are living Islam totally and be free, they are making new lies to cover the old lie. Like offshoot, like Ahmadiyya is one offshoot. Sufism, offshoot. They are ex-Muslim, all of them, from my view. They just try to cover lies with lies, but it will not help.
Sufi Islam is not Islam, but it's still Islam, and it's not a good way of living your life. Sufi Muslims can be nicer to each other than Wahhabis are, but they are not nice to other people. They're still dangerous, and they still are assholes towards women.
Right. Yeah, but like Ahmadiyya Muslims. I'm defending Ahmadiyya Muslims' right to live their belief in Pakistan, especially where they are really facing with a lot of discrimination and killings. But in the other side, when you look to Ahmadiyya, they are also very conservative in their society.
Yeah,
Like
but they're like they believe in a different prophet, and they believe they came another prophet. So being a Muslim means that you have to believe that Muhammad is the prophet of Allah and he is the last prophet. But they disagree with the last prophet part, and they have another one. So
yeah, no.
there is so much debate within Muslim communities that they have to improve Islam, they have to make it nicer, they have to make it friendlier, but they don't want to change a single word.
No.
We don't want to remove the brutality and
The most strange thing is that they are accepting the hadiths, the
yeah,
saying and teachings of prophet, but they just picking, cherry picking. Even they are legitimizing their religion, their belief.
The
from
Muslim
hadiths.
man who is sadistic is very comfortable, and if he's a pedophile, he's very comfortable as a Muslim. If he doesn't want to respect anybody but himself and his desires, he's very comfortable as a Muslim. So, there are those sorts of people too.
Yeah. And I remember, because I said this, Jeanette, when it was some or many years ago, I was opened one secret Facebook group of free thinkers, Norwegian free thinkers.
Yeah.
And in this time we didn't know each other. And my friends add you in this group, and I said to all admins that we will have like echo chamber here. We will not have any religious people. We will have only free thinkers and atheists and sort of people. And I remember you and me had a discussion.
Yeah, because
we misunderstand each other, but you defended like like you told earlier today, like your interpretation of the Quran is different. You are agree that a lot of things is bad in Islam because of interpretations and hadiths, and then we fight each other. And I said to this guy who added you in the group, I said, where did you find this girl? And I said to you, we will not have any religious people. And he said, I don't think she's religious. I think you misunderstand her. But later we understand each other better.
No, I was being a jerk on purpose. I just wanted to check out how your temper was, because I have met a lot of people who don't handle it very well, and it was fun, but I did apologize. And,
no, it's not no need to apologize. This is I'm telling this because I'm telling this because I want to show it is not easy to accept the reality. It has been happened to me too.
Yeah.
Although we are seeing all the madness in Islam, but many years we are going like non-Muslim, but in the same time we identify ourselves like Muslims. And then it takes long time to really get rid of this cult and say, you, Allah, or whatever you are, I don't believe you, go. Like these things, even this is very difficult. It was very difficult for me to say like this thing, like and not get like depression or fear.
Yeah.
So I think you are amazing, and you are really doing a great job. I hope many people will read your articles. It is on our webpage, Ex-Muslims of Norway, a lot of your articles from the 1990s, but all of them is in Norwegian, but we will try to translate many of them to English as much as we can. If you want, before we are ending the show, have you something to say before we look to comments a little bit, maybe?
Sure, we can, look at some comments.
Okay. A lot of people from all around the world. I see even the Turkish people from Turkey. They say, how are you guys? From Australia, from Turkey, from United States.
I would say I am very, very proud of every ex-Muslim.
And all people who are supporting ex-Muslim movement in the world, because this is, fighting against one desert cult which destroys millions of life, Muslims' life,
Yeah.
They are the offer, Muslims are offer. My mother is offer. My brother, sister, and all family,
Victims.
all friends
Victims.
are offer of this ideology, which is really just absurd and totalitarian and really dangerous idea in the same time. Like today, Norwegian police arrested one 16 years old Syrian refugee for planning terror attack in Oslo. Have you heard that?
No.
Jeanette, it's happened today, and it is first time actually police come with the detail like clean information. They are even mentioning the background of boy, and I don't believe he's 16 years old even. I'm sure he's maybe over 20. When they come without papers, they say, "I'm 5 years old," and they Norway accept this.
With beard.
So we have said before, when the refugees come, so-called refugees, because all of them are not refugees, most of them are immigrants, and we said that we have to be careful because of ISIS people are inside them. Where is the ISIS people? But nobody listening. Everybody like, oh, are you racist or are you hating people? It's not about that. It's about take caring the West, take caring the little country where we are living in freedom. But it's not mean that we will not help other people who are suffering. Yes, we will, and we are doing right now. But they don't understand.
Imran Firasat, he was rejected. He was denied asylum in Norway. We didn't even offer it to Asia Bibi. And the other day, there was this Christian woman who had said to a patient in a hospital that Jesus will heal your troubles, like Christian people do. And all the nurses with their masks, Muslims, they start to beat her. And she'll probably, be... these people, nobody tries to help them. They are the ones who really need asylum. They are the ones who are being treated like garbage by the Muslim majority in their countries, because there are no, there are no rights for people who aren't Muslim. They have no minority rights. Nobody criticizes Islam. That's what they are trying to recreate in European countries.
Yes, I'm planning attack in Oslo. I thought it would happen after building the big Islam
I have
center.
got to.
Yes, Rishwin asking too, because a lot of ex-Muslims around the world have sent us messages about one Salafist Islamic organization in Norway, like begging for money and promising a villa in the heaven. And this have gone viral all over the world, and they are getting money. And this is Rishwin is pointing out. He say that I thought it would happen after building that biggest Islamic center in Norway. They are collecting money from everywhere. Yes, we know that, but they don't need that. Islam is a cult really special for young people, can be radicalized very fast, because they are making like, Muslims are like victims. Every time if you put inside the head of the young people special that Muslims are victims, West are the worst people in the world, and they want to destroy Islam. They are killing Muslims, and they showing the Quran and Hadith. They say, look, if you die for Allah, from your first drop of the blood, you will go to heaven. You will get 72 virgins. You will have the honey and the river of milk, and you can't even get 30 of your family members from hell to the heaven. So they give it like, and this life is not real. The real life waiting us. Do this the right thing. And this like 16 years old or 18 years old boy planning to make and it was a real plan, and I'm happy that police arrested him. Okay, and I just want to remind one more time and share the link that wait. This is I'm sharing the link right now.
Yeah.
The comment
I am
section.
exhausted because moderate isn't enough.
Yes, and this is I'm just now. I send it in the comment section. This is the link of our fellow ex-Muslim organization in Denmark, and they have their first podcast. I'm looking forward to hear them and watch them. The name is I'm an ex-Muslim because being a moderate is not enough. It is wonderful title, and I'm totally agree with Mustafa. So I hope everyone will go and watch about 4 minutes. They are starting, so we will be finished soon here. And last thing, Jeanette, have you something to say?
I am overwhelmed and very grateful for all the responses I received after my last article. It's been great. I was in a very vulnerable place in my memories when I was writing it. I didn't even, spell check. I just sent it off to the editor because it was really emotional for me, and I had so great response. I'm really grateful for that.
And then you will write more, and we will make more videos. And we say thank you for watching us today, and see you in the next episode with one new guest. Okay, thank you very much, and bye bye, guys. Bye bye.